Hello. I'm gonna wait for more people to join, and we are gonna start off with the news for today. Hi, Heading for Mountains. Hi, Lauren. Hi, hello. I apologize for the delay today. I knew that I needed to start the new live schedule for my Monday, not randomly from a Friday. Because while my sleep schedule is much better now, it's still not ideal. But we're doing better. We're doing much better. Hi, Joe. Hello, the one person who's already on YouTube, but I don't know who this is. Nice sweater. Thank you. Actually, this sweater has a story to it. Hi, Sky. Hi, Praxis. Hi, Tammy. Good to see you. Hi, Eva. Thank you so much. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Mariana. Good to see you. So Lauren, Lauren and Cornhollow. Hi, John. Complimented my sweater. So you know what's funny about this sweater? This sweater is about 10 years old. I got it my senior year of high school, or maybe like junior year of high school. I think it's Comptoir de Cotonnière, which is like this French company. Привет, доброе, jak sprawy? Hi, Veronica. Hi, Fiona. And so I will tell you the story for the sweater. My dad absolutely, passionately hates the sweater. Thank you, Jamie. Welcome to the spy layer. Hi, Melissa. Okay, so we got this in Italy, in Milan, when I was in my senior year of high school. And we came into La Rinascente, which is like this incredible, beautiful, like shopping mall with like nice brand name stuff. And my parents would buy themselves brand name stuff, but they never bought that for me because they believed that, like, you know, kids in their teens shouldn't have like brand name things because it like screws with your morals and like things that you think. Like, I agree with them. Okay, I agree with them. But anyways, this was like the first year that they were okay with getting me like nicer things. And I was so excited. We got to this like mall, and I see this sweater, and I am like in love with this sweater. I want this sweater so much. And it was like ridiculously expensive too, for like no reason at all. But I was told by my father that I could find one item that I really liked, and it didn't matter, like, well, not didn't matter, but like there was a price cap, obviously, but it was just like, you know, way more than I could ever like think. And so I picked this sweater, and he goes, Yulia, I will buy you 5 other things. Any 5 other things, just not this sweater. I hate this sweater. And so the whole day we had this whole argument about this stupid sweater. And he ended up buying it for me because I was like, I don't want 5 other things. I want this goddamn sweater. And so I got this sweater. Ironically, actually, when I got it in high school, I barely wore it. And the reason why it preserved so well, it's actually like, it looks like it's brand new, is because I barely wore it. And he was right. At that time, like, I just wanted the sweater because he hated the sweater. I didn't even like, I don't know. I could, there was nothing that I would wear the sweater with. And, but the reason why it stayed so like in such good condition is because it's been like nicely put in like a box in my closet. And then last year I found it and I was like, wait, this is an awesome sweater. And so I've been wearing this sweater ever since, and I really like it. And yeah, that's my sweater story. That's how I ended up with this sweater. It's a story of teenage maximalism and parental controls. But I hope that it was a fun story for everybody. So it isn't just American culture to rebel against your parents. Oh my gosh, no. Are you kidding me? No. It's not American culture at all. It's everywhere in the world. Also, Kat is asking, did you send pictures to your dad in the sweater? Yes, I showed him. Thank you, Melissa. I showed him the sweater a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, look what I found. I've been wearing this sweater, and my dad is like, what is this sweater? And I'm like, Dad, do you not remember this sweater? And I was like telling him the story about this sweater, and he was just like, yeah, I don't remember any of this. It's an okay sweater. He made such a big deal out of this stupid sweater that is crazy. It's crazy. And also, just so you know how wildly everywhere my taste was when I was in my when I was in my in my teens, I bought pink sneakers, like this pink, to match this sweater, and obviously also never wore them. Someone is saying, Yulia, you speak so much and so well about your dad. Can you introduce him sometime? Also, the reason why I'm saying someone is because on my screen, I don't see who wrote the message. And the profile picture is just green because it's like with my eyesight, it's really hard to see. Yeah, I've introduced my dad a couple of times, but I can have him on live again because I feel like there are a lot of people who haven't met my dad who are new. So I shall see how he's doing, and Tato is gonna come back. Hi, Elizabeth. But yeah, I'll bring my dad over again. My dad quite enjoys attention. and, and you guys seem to quite enjoy my dad. So I think it's a win-win for everybody. Yeah, I'll bring him over. We love Tato. Tato loves attention. He's never gonna admit to it. Never, but he loves attention. We miss Tato fashion. As dad of 4 daughters. This sweater. As a dad of 4 daughters, Yulia made such a fuss of this sweater. Oh my gosh, no. I didn't make a fuss of this sweater. I was promised one item that I liked, and this was the item, and then my dad didn't like it, and then he like dragged me around for 5 more hours to convince me that I'm going to find something I'm going to like better than that sweater. And it was like, you know, at that point it was like, no, you said I get to choose, and now you're not letting me choose. Brandy says, we love your dad, but you never send him my application. Brandy, you're married, aren't you? Brandy, what does your husband have to say about the application for my dad? Hi, crazy cat. Ice pink heart shape. Good evening. I feel his pain. Well, I feel your daughter's pain, you know? Because it seems like you too would be, you know, protesting against a stupid sweater. As a former teenage girl at some point, I would like to say, you know, we just want freedom of self-expression. All you could do was just to say, yeah, it's a nice sweater. And then you know what? Maybe we would choose a different sweater. A different sweater. But anyways, hi Grumpy, hi Albert, hi Karine, hi Taz. Okay, I think I said hello to everyone. So how are you guys doing? How was your day? No worries, Elizabeth. I had something really fun happen yesterday. So there's this Ukrainian company that operates in Germany, and they basically, it's a company, it's like, how would I explain it? My project manager at United 24 for the voiceover for Ukraine briefly is working on branding for this company of like desk organizers. So like monitor raisers, like, you know, computer stands and all, like basically desk organization stuff. And so he posted a story a while ago, and he was like, hey, would anybody who lives in the US or like in Europe want to get like a set of this and take like great photos of it and stuff like that? And you will like get to keep it for free. And I was like, hello. So I messaged him, and he was like, and we basically picked a set for my desk, which is like so good because I desperately needed like to organize, like with all the growing stuff that I have technology wise, my desk just consistently is so cluttered. And so this like thing arrived, and it's such nice quality, and it's so freaking amazing. And I'm gonna like record the photos and even a video and like whatever they want me to do, honestly, because like I didn't expect it to be such great quality on like this weekend or next week. And I'm gonna definitely post a little overview because like, and like I just want to share it. Like I don't know how many people need organization. I definitely do, but I'm sure that most of us do, especially the people who work from home. And I used to have like one monitor razor. Thank you, men XFX. Ooh. Like especially all of those of us who work from home, because my desk is just like, I used to have one little monitor razor and then like a bunch of other like individual things just to like sort of organize things around. Hi, radio. But it was still a mess. And then this system is kind of like the IKEA of desk gear, because you can choose like the length of your monitor stand. You can also adjust it to go like up or down. It's metal and wood. You also can like buy shelves for your desk organizer too, and like you can, it's like so malleable, and it's so like what's it called, oh my gosh, couches, what are couches called, the ones that you can adjust? I forgot, I'm blanking on the word. Help my English. Modular. Yeah, it's modular. Thank you, Veronica. Yep. Good word. Futon sectional. Modular. Modular. That you can like adjust. It's called a modular couch. Manax from Isle of Man. Okay, that sounds cool. Recliner. You guys, modular. Modular is the word, but yeah. Okay, so basically they're like super modular. They also have like a stands for like for like laptops that you can put in, and it's also modular, and for like headphones and for so many things. Honestly, I was like, wow, I'm not obsessed, and now I want to like organize all of my spaces with things that are similar. Hi, yep, it's Steve. But yeah, so basically I am just like, I'm obsessed. I actually like got the setup together yesterday, and then I reorganized my whole room and my whole apartment, because I was like, you know what? My space isn't, my workspace is not organized. I want my life to be organized. And so that's what I did. For those of you who are on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, I'm just gonna like lean a little bit and I'm gonna show you what these things are. So this is the laptop / iPad stand. For me, it's an iPad stand. And it's like really cool. Behind it, where my Apple Watch is hanging, that's actually a stand for headphones and like trinkets and stuff. And then this is the monitor razor that goes all the way here. And that is a shelf, and you can like put as many shelves as you want. And I don't know why I told them I wanted the size large, because they had an extra large, and my desk is super long, as you can see. So I could have easily gotten like the extra large and covered the whole desk. But you know, it's me, and I don't think these things through. Привіт, Київ. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna here. See, this is the so you guys don't end up. See, my desk is like really long, and I could have easily gotten the extra large. But basically, this is a monitor. This is a monitor stand for like an iMac or an iPad. This is the monitor razor, and this is the shelf, and then that is AirPods. An AirPods Pro Max thing, but I also use it for the Apple Watch, because John has my AirPods Pro Max right now, because you know I can't have nice things. And yeah. So I'm very excited, and it's also like the first time that something like so major happened for free, and it's really nice, and I'm like, oh, it's so nice. But yeah. Order the XL and give John the L1. Okay, but you know, I will. But you know, I will. Veronica says order the XL and give John the L1. I mean, I might at some point, but right now I'm not spending money on anything. So yeah. Also, I have this like annoying thing, which is like completely off topic, but hi Scott. But basically, my Amazon Prime is glitching, and I need to call them, because I have Prime and I pay for Prime. Yet I realized that on a couple of past orders, I paid $5.99 shipping, And I was like, oh, did my card expire on file or something like that? Why is like why do I pay $5.99 shipping for Prime items? And then I realized that it's just a glitch. And I'm like, well, I don't like that. Anyways, not happy. Because I think I paid $5.99 shipping like 3 times, which is not cool because I do pay for Prime. So, definitely not buying anything right now. Still need to figure out how did I manage to get into the situation. Hi, Cyberdoc. So yeah. For some reason, YouTube decided not to give me notifications for the brief. Oh no! Don't get me started. Hi, Ennio. Ennio, you're like the ghost of this channel. You just pop up sometimes out of nowhere. And I always notice because not only is your handle Ennio, but also I like how bright and yellow your profile picture is. I actually want to do something like that. I should do something like that. Got notified about members only posts though. Yeah, so I'm doing another Patreon live this Saturday at 2. Yeah, because live at 12:30 tomorrow at 2 p.m. Patreon Zoom call. Do an e-chat with Amazon customer service and they'll refund you. Oh, that's awesome. I'll do that. Yeah, because that's annoying. That's incredibly annoying. I don't understand. Like I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed. Okay, so where were we here? We are over here. So I'm going to start with something very interesting. I want to start with something very interesting that's also very sad and very telling of the world that we live in. 1 second. I just want to pull up the pictures. Yep. Okay. I will show you what I want to talk about. And it's funny because I was told that it really isn't that big of a deal and no one cares and it's such a not like major thing. There's no reason to talk about it. Who even cares about the Miss Universe pageant and like blah blah blah. And the thing is, like, agreed, I don't necessarily care about Miss Universe pageant that much, but what I do care about is the expression of imperialism and colonialism and supporting things that support a genocide. So what you're seeing here are the 2 contestants from the Miss Universe 2023 pageant. The one in white is from Ukraine and the one in red is from Russia. So what's the problem here? First of all, Russia was allowed to compete and represent Russia at Miss Universe. Second of all, she came out on stage with the commentator saying, let me pull this up. Oh, staying loyal to the times that were royal in Russia. So her costume is that of an empress. She came out on stage, Miss Russia came out on stage wearing a costume of an empress. And you know what people are outraged about? People are outraged about not this, but the fact that the wings on the costume of Miss Ukraine were automated, so they opened up. So people in America are outraged because our tax dollars went to pay for this costume. So let me right off the bat say, I would be concerned about your understanding of politics, understanding of economics, and how economy works and how aid works. And I would be concerned over your morality rather than how much the Miss Universe costume cost. None of American taxes or anyone's taxes paid for her costume, because when the US, Germany, France, whoever allocates a certain amount of budget to Ukraine, they specify where this budget can go. Also, when you hear amounts like, oh, the US is giving Ukraine a $48 billion aid package, that doesn't mean that the US is handing out Ukraine $48 billion in cash. No, that means that they're going to give them weapons or renew schools to an amount of that money. And some of it might be transferred to like the bank account of the government, to like central bank, for like specific needs. But none of it is just like, oh, we got an aid package from America and we're going to pay for a ridiculous Miss Universe costume. That costume has been in the works before American tax dollars were even arriving here. So that's one. Two, the fact that people are annoyed about Miss Universe Ukraine representing a warrior of light because it's milking the war. Let me remind you that there is a genocide ongoing in Ukraine, and no matter what she would have come out in a costume of, you would still be judging her from people that judge her already. Because if she had come out, in a refugee costume, what did you expect her to do? Come out in a costume of like not even a refugee costume, but what did you expect her to do? Come out in a costume of what you see as a refugee? So like dirty clothes, maybe smeared with blood. No, that would be too on the nose too for you, right? If she came out in a regular dress, people would say she's boring. Hi, Lulu. If she came out in, no matter what she would put on herself, people would judge her because you want to. You're not judging her because you actually think that she's milking the war. You're judging her because you want to judge Ukraine. You don't like Ukraine. You want to judge us, and you're just looking for a reason. This costume was chosen specifically because, hey, just FYI, no one's milking the war. We all wish the war wasn't there because there are thousands of people dying weekly. And because there are thousands of people dying weekly, it only makes sense that Miss Ukraine would be representing Ukraine with the current situation that Ukraine is going through. And it's also super, super ironic that Miss Ukraine came out on stage wearing the Warrior of Light costume that represents Ukraine's fight for freedom, and Miss Russia came out on stage wearing a costume of an empress, to the commentator saying staying loyal to the times that were royal in Russia. Yeah. Miss Universe allowed their contestant from a genocidal maniac country not only to participate, but to come out on stage wearing a costume that represents Imperial Russia and all of the torture and genocides and it's just inhumanity that they have caused to the world, and proudly announced it as staying loyal to the times that were royal. I think that if you were to be outraged or concerned about anything, it must be that. I'd also like to point out that the Russian contestant was state-sponsored. Like Putin-backed, state-sponsored. And her costume was chosen on purpose by the state. So I wonder why are you not worried about Russian people's tax dollars? I wonder because Russia was saying recently that Europe is going to freeze without their gas this winter. Meanwhile, it's minus 40 in Russia and people don't have gas in their houses and electricity is off and it's minus 40. Meanwhile, in Europe, there are gas reserves that are, I think, like about 80% full at this point, if not 90. And it's plus 8 degrees, and no one's freezing, but Russian people are freezing. So I wonder, because the government isn't providing them with gas. And you would think that, a gas monopoly super overlord country would be able to provide their citizens with gas and electricity during a minus 40 degrees Celsius weather. They're not. And you know why they're not? Because Russian tax dollars and Russian money is going to the pockets of Russian politicians and into the war with Ukraine, while their people are sitting there, not bombed, with no electricity and no gas. So, when you try to say things like that, I would say that maybe check your morality. Check your morality first, and then we can talk about how inappropriate it was for Ukraine to come out in a costume of Warrior of Light that has automated wings. So yeah, Russians have no gas. Like, there is Yaroslavl, which is like a city near Moscow. It's minus 40 there. Thank you, Nina. It's minus 40 there, and nothing's working. There is no electricity. There's no gas. There is no running water, I believe, either. Well, maybe still running water, but there is no electricity, no gas. Also, Putin was blackmailing Europe with gas and actually ended up doing quite the opposite. And I talked about it in my latest brief. So if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend you do. So yeah. Okay. Russian media showed how the destroyed vocational school in Makiyevka, where the mobilized soldiers were killed by shelling, looks like now. The Russian Defense Ministry claims that 89 servicemen out of 1,300 who were at the vocational school were killed during the attack. Thank you, Mariana. Heroyam Slava. Subsequently, the military leadership decided to classify the names of the dead. So, this is what it looks like after that strike. Which is kind of funny because this actually does look destroyed. And then after that the strike that Russia claims took lives of 600 Ukrainian servicemen, and nothing was destroyed and the dormitories were still intact. And again, I talk about it in my brief if you guys don't know what I'm talking about. Ukraine's armed forces detected Russian armed forces preparing for a new massive missile attack. Head of the press center of the Joint Forces Operation South. Russia is using drones for reconnaissance and has sent ships for redeployment. Zelensky honored the memory of fallen Ukrainian warriors in Lviv. Also, so here's the thing. You guys, I think that what we're going to start doing on lives now is, because we have the briefs and I've added 2 sections to the briefs, and the briefs come out twice a week. And one section is, the section is called Weapons and Weather, where I basically tell you all the weapon deliveries that have been announced, that are being in the talks, that have been delivered during that period of time. And then I tell you the frontline weather conditions for the cities and the states where the most key frontline battles are happening at the moment. So I think that a lot of stuff like that we're going to skip, and we're going to be talking more in the live news. I think we're going to be talking more about just big decisions, very, very, very key things, and sort of have more ability to discuss things. And also, because I tend to go way overboard with lives and do them for 2.5 hours, I then end up having voice problems and stuff like that. So I think we're going to cap them at 1.5 hours. And that way there is structure. But again, we'll see what works. But I think that makes sense, because if I already talk about something in the brief on YouTube, it makes kind of no sense for me to repeat it over and over in live either. And I'm going to try and choose topics for both lives and briefs that are that are interesting and that are from a different realm. But let me see. I just downloaded a video of the honoring of the fallen Ukrainian servicemen, and I want to show it to you. But I don't. Recents. There you go. but for some reason my iPad always switches. Ah, thank you. Well, the thing is, like, really appreciate I really appreciate everyone who says that they're here for me and they like listening to me, but I also want it to be useful, you know? I think that for the like we're at this stage in this channel where it only makes sense to organize and structure things, you know, because I've been doing things kind of like, you know, like, oh, live at 7 today, live at 4 tomorrow, live at 11 the day after, you know, and I kind of want it to be like a more structured thing where you guys know when and where to go for the news and know that it's always going to be there. And I also want it to be a little more structured in a way where, like, you know, we have more time to like talk and discuss things, you know, rather than me just consistently reading the news and then like answering a question here, answering a question there. I think that it makes more sense if it's like, if there is more of like, you know what to expect in a way, you know? So, okay, I'm going to show you the video of Zelensky honoring the fallen servicemen of the armed forces of Ukraine in Lviv. Okay. What did you say that? Yeah, it is indeed really sad to see, to be honest. But this is the thing, you know, one of the things that I was talking about, you know, I obviously am so mad and hurt and like just appalled by the fact that there is this war, right? But let's think about it in the long run, right? This war could have, like, someone said yesterday that if if you know, if you know, well, not someone, actually Crazy Cat said that yesterday, and I had a lot to think about it, so thank you for mentioning that. But Crazy Cat yesterday said that we had a Patreon Zoom call, and it was actually just me and me, Veronica, and Crazy Cat. It was like a tiny little Zoom call because I was late on it, and you know, and the only two people who made it were them, and it was actually really cool. It was like a little over an hour, and we had a lot to talk about. It was really fun, so I really appreciate you guys showing up. And one of the things that Crazy Cat said on Patreon Zoom yesterday was that was that if Yanukovych signed the European agreement into like in 2013, then, you know, Ukraine would be protected by Europe now, and Russia would have never attacked. Which, that's the whole point. He would never have signed the agreement because he was like, he was a, you know, a Russian proxy who was installed there specifically for that to not happen. But even if that did happen, right? Russia wouldn't be weakened, and Russia would still be a world superpower. And be it a decade later or 15 years later, like superpower, Russia would still hold a monopoly on gas. Russia would still have all of these things, and we would all still be scared of Russia, thinking that they're so strong and they're so terrifying, and they would still be reigning over the world, have free reign, and do all of the atrocities that they have been doing unpunished. And none of these things would have come up, right? So, in a very like screwed up way, it's kind of like similar as to drawing a parallel to Russian people who don't want to protest because they don't want to get hurt, right? And they run away from Russia because they don't want to live in a dictator regime. And we all condemn them for that, right? Because you could protest, and yes, you would most likely get hurt, but you could protest, you could get hurt, continue fighting, have a revolution, and then you would get rid of that dictator regime forever. Not just put a band-aid on the problem by running away, right? And so to a degree, which it's obviously different, right? But a lot of the servicemen of the armed forces of Ukraine understand that even though so many people are dying, even though so much horror is happening, at this point, we call it the final fight because this fight is decisive. And when we weaken Russia, we'll weaken them hopefully forever, and they'll never be able to do anything like this again. So if Russia didn't attack in 2014, things in the world would still be the same, and Russia would still be planning and invading other countries and slowly gathering territories, and it would still find a way somehow, to some degree, to cause damage, and we would still end up in this situation one day. But because we're in this situation now, it's kind of like thank you, Nina, thank you so much. It's kind of like it's an all-in. It's an all-in. It's an all-in once and for all, and it's a huge price to pay, and it's a huge all-in. But it's like all our bets are on, and this is our final round. And in this final round, we're not only liberating ourselves from Russia, but we're also protecting the whole world from the existence of Russia. And unfortunately, if Russia never invaded in 2014, if Russia hasn't killed as many people as they did, if Russia didn't do all of the awful things that they have done, the world wouldn't have a chance. So we ended up in this predicament where it's up to us to decide whether we want to go all in and fight and defeat them once and for all, or whether we want to put a band-aid on the problem and risk this happening to us or someone else again in 10 or 15 years. So it's kind of like the reason why we Ukrainians say this stuff about Russians and Russians just being cowards and them not doing anything is because we are paying the highest price because we don't want to live near a dictatorship. We don't want to ever be beholden to fear of Russia invading or attacking. We don't want the world to be beholden to the fear of Russia invading or attacking. We want to solve this issue once and for all, and we are paying the price for it, the biggest price for it, while Russians are scared of getting hurt. You know? So that's why we're so harsh, and that's why we are so firm in what we say. Russians are not doing anything because they want to complain about lack of freedom, and they want to complain about lack of democracy, they want to complain about living in dictatorship. Yet, instead of fixing the dictatorship once and for all, they'd rather run away from the dictatorship and let it continue prospering among the people that are okay with living in a dictatorship, that are never going to do anything against it. So yeah. So yeah. So for sure. Hi, Sandra. Good to see you. Yeah, Sandra says, I really appreciated being more structured as that means I can prioritize certain times to join your lives. I have missed so many due to them being all at different times. Well, that's why they're now going to be, I'm going to say starting Monday, they're going to be Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard all the time. And I'm also going to cap them at an hour and a half. So, everybody, an hour is still like a very long live, right? But it's not 2.5 hours. And even if you missed it, it's easier for you to navigate it. And also because there are now 3 lives a week, I'm also going to section out the lives the same way as I do with briefs, where I will indicate where it's just me rambling about personal stuff and catching up. And then I'll indicate where we jump into the news, and I'll try to divide the news onto topics, because on lives, usually I talk a little more extensively about one topic, like 10 to 15 minutes for one topic sometimes. So I will just divide it on topics. Okay. Turkey has started sending to Ukraine cluster munitions of American design, manufactured during the Cold War, writes Foreign Policy. These are dual-purpose conventional munitions. They are designed in particular to destroy armored vehicles, and each projectile scatters 88 rounds. The first deliveries took place in November, although neither side officially announced it. Of course, Ukraine is receiving Bradleys. And Ukrbоронпром launched serial production of 82mm fragmentation mines abroad. The number of fragments is 2 to 2.5 times higher than the standard. And this is what it looks like. And it's designed and made by Ukraine and produced in other countries now, which is kind of cool. It looks so cute. For something that's a fragmentation mine, it's very cute. It's a pretty design. I can't believe I'm saying a mine looks cute. Okay. Norway gave more than 100 generators to Ukrainian border guards, the State Border Guard Service of Ukraine reported. Twitter user Benjamin Petet published a satellite image of the airport in Berdyansk, which the Russians are equipping for a base. The photo shows at least 17 Russian helicopters and various fortifications. Presumably, the Russians plan to replace their air base in Chaplinka, near the administrative border with Crimea, with this base, because the Ukrainian army can now reach it with HIMARS. We can also reach that one with drones, but, why would Russians want to know that? President of Slovakia allowed her citizens to join the ranks of the armed forces of Ukraine. The president of Slovakia, Zuzana Kaputova, approved the participation of 7 Slovaks in the armed forces of Ukraine. This was reported to the Slovak publication Pravda by the press secretary of Slovak President Martin Stržanec. The fact is that in Slovakia, there is criminal liability for unauthorized joining of a foreign army. Hi, Ellie. Hi, Tyrannus. Isn't it more of a replacement for Chernobyevka? Sort of. Kind of. From 2 to 8 years in prison and from 5 to 10 years in martial law. At the same time, the law on conscription allows military service in the armed forces of a foreign state with the permission of the president. That's amazing. That's honestly very, very, very amazing. On January 10th, Ukrainian actor Dmytro Linartovich was seriously wounded and concussed in the battle near Solidar. And I'm sure that you've seen this video many times, but it's been making rounds online. He's introducing himself. He says, remember, we are on God-given land. We will never be broken down. We are winning. And the reason why I wanted to show it is because, if this isn't anything, if this isn't inspirational, if this isn't something that makes everyone continue want to continue to fight, I don't know what will, because this man is seriously, seriously wounded. And on his like medical evac bed, all he can say is, we're not going to be broken. Also, Andrzej Duda, the president of Poland, came to Lviv a couple of days ago and announced that Poland is going to give Ukraine 40 Leopards. And this is how he was greeted in my city. Oh, you're from Lviv? Yep, born and raised by two lovely Ukrainian people in in Lviv, Ukraine, for 16 years of my life. It's it's funny because Andrzej Duda was greeted in Lviv like a celebrity, like an A-list celebrity. Oh my gosh, this is something that I do want to show you because I think it's so important. Meet Sheikh Said Ismagilov, the former Mufti of the Religious Administration of Muslims of Ukraine, the president of the Center for Islamic Studies of Ukraine. In April 2022, he volunteered to the armed forces, serves as a medic and driver. Now he is in Bakhmut. You have seen him from the video where he was praying in the foreground of a destroyed mosque in Ukraine. Lviv is very, very beautiful to someone who says it. Okay, there is an update from Solidar, and I'm going to put it on a big screen. It is a little bit, it is a little bit of a low quality video, so it might be a little hard to read subtitles, but if you guys have any issues reading subtitles, let me know. And for those of you on TikTok, very often people saying I can't read subtitles because the chat is in the way. So you guys can swipe like this way, so to the right, and the chat is going to swipe out, and then you can swipe back in. So that way you can see full screen. Yeah, Poland's help is amazing, but Duda, yeah, I understand, Tyrannus. Like, Duda, that's the thing where, like, it's the morality of war, right? I think in no other circumstances, like, Duda gave Ukraine incredible support. So did Polish people. But Duda is also the person who banned abortions and is, like, anti-LGBTQIA and freedom of expression. So it's like, it's a slippery slope.
Спокійніше там прокручуй. Так, вертикально. Є. Наступна. І, так, АМЮ. Зараз хвилину. Кажеш, коли готов.
Готов.
Пускай.
Нет, вон там можешь уже поворачивать. Сейчас калибруем. И ура-ура.
Саме так зараз звучить Солідар. Я хочу вас запевнити, що ситуація абсолютно контрольована. Станом на скільки годин? Скільки годин, Сантік?
Зараз скажемо. 10 годин.
10 година
11:01.
ранку. Ситуація з вечора для підарів не покращилася. Всі рубежі збережені і під надійним контролем ЗСУ. Відбуваються час від часу локальні точечні бої, плюс працює з обох сторін артилерія. птахи Мадяра роблять свою роботу. Да, Фред?
Так іде. Що там?
65%. Сань, на. Роби.
Коли вам чаю кипяти, замерзли.
Зараз, щас, подожди, балу. Їжа. Хочеш їсти? Їжа богів. Ні, не хочу. 86.
Санька, лише чай без томатного соку.
З огірками.
Ще на томатному.
З огірками роби.
So this is basically quite a bit then it's just more of kind of like talk, you know, but operational information is that both Bakhmut and Solidar are, this was operational info from Solidar. Solidar is still standing. There are fierce battles. I've heard that various news agencies are reporting that like Solidar is like 1/2 taken, you know, like 30% taken, 15% taken. So here's the thing. 15% taken, 1/2 taken, 1/3 taken, 30% taken is not a thing. If the city is not taken, it isn't taken. That means that it's actively in a fierce battle. There are buildings changing hands all the time. I talk about it more extensively in the brief. And if you haven't seen it, then you should. But basically, there is no such thing as the city is, like there is such a thing as the city is almost taken. But if the armed forces of Ukraine control the majority of the city, then the city is not taken. And it's not like, you know, it's not really a thing. A thing is, if 15% of the city is currently controlled by the Russian forces, then that means that it's an ongoing battle. It's not Russia is taking control of the city. No, this is just how warfare works. Okay. You also need to understand that Russians took all of their forces out of Bakhmut and threw them into Solidar. So it is going to be like a very hot battle. More than 2.4 million Ukrainians live in damaged or destroyed housing. According to Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Infrastructure and Regional Development, Alexander Kubrakov, this is only the data as of fall last year. The scale of destruction caused by the Russian aggression in Ukraine is currently impossible to assess as the fighting continues. Deputy head of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, Emin Japarova, announced that the resolution on the creation of a special tribunal on the crime of aggression by Russian Federation will be put to a vote in the UN General Assembly. Military medics are saving the lives of their sworn brothers 24/7. Looking into the eyes of death, they do everything possible and impossible to win this battle. I want to show you a series of photographs of why, you know, Miss Universe Ukraine came out on stage representing a warrior rather than anything else. And also, let me remind you that for those of you who are new here, hi, my name is Yulia. I was born and raised in Lviv, Ukraine, and I've lived there until I was 16 years old, at which point I moved to study in the United States to New York City and have been living here ever since. My entire immediate family lives in Lviv, and you know, my mom, my dad, grandmas, grandpas, and my aunt. And on this channel on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at normally now it will be 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do lives where we dissect and break down all the news up to that point in the week that came out of Ukraine and pertaining to Ukraine. We give them historical, geopolitical, and otherwise relevant context. I answer as many questions as I possibly can in order to help you understand more of what's going on and catch up on the news. This live is airing on 4 different platforms at the same time. It is Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. And if you prefer any one of the platforms that I mentioned just now to the one that you have found me on, you can easily switch by looking at my handle. It's the same across the board. at Yulia to a different platform. If you are on YouTube and you go to my About, you can find all of my social media there. If you're on Twitch and you go to the About, same thing. If you are on TikTok or Twitter, you can go to my link in bio where all of my social medias are linked. And on TikTok, conveniently, there is a play button right next to my profile picture. So that's how you can find my YouTube. If you don't follow me on YouTube yet, you absolutely should, because I release briefs twice a week there as well when I don't do lives. And briefs are about 20-minute rundowns on everything that happened in and pertaining to Ukraine in the week so far. And they're very convenient, they're very fast, and they have some great sections. And I just added a section of weather and weapons. And next week, actually, I'm going to do it in a more convenient way. So it's not going to be like an additional, 4 minutes of me just reading text. It's going to be much more animated and much more visual. So I hope you guys like it. Okay, and also just to remind you that all of your gifts and all of your on TikTok and all of your super chats and super stickers and supers on YouTube are incredibly appreciated. If you would like to support my journalistic endeavors, you can always sign up for my Patreon or become a YouTube channel member or become a member of the TikTok subscription. And all of those things are incredibly appreciated and go a very, very, very long way. Although, of course, on Twitch, you can do the same thing too. I'm sorry, I'm just so bad at Twitch. But yeah, they're very appreciated, although obviously they're not expected and they're not like demanded or anything like that. But I do appreciate all of your support. Thank you very much. Okay. Here's a video of a Russian soldier freezing in his hole. He's sitting there, shivering, freezing in a hole that he dug for himself. And metaphorically, that Russia dug for him. Russia is trying to create a 2 million army. The military intelligence of Ukraine does not rule out that the Russian leadership will announce another wave of mobilization in the coming days. Another 500,000 Russians will join the Russian army, which will allow the terrorist country to create strategic reserves. According to the military intelligence of Ukraine, the scale of mobilization activities conducted by the aggressor country indicates the plans of its leadership to create an army of about 2 million people. The Guardian, citing sources, writes that former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson plans to visit Kyiv. This may be his 4th visit to Ukraine since the beginning of the Great War. The first 3 were during his premiership. In Kherson, Russian invaders shelled a base with municipal buses at night. As a result of the shelling, 16 buses were damaged. Cars, warehouses, and guard building were also damaged. One of the guards was wounded. Ukrenergo expects the electricity consumption will decrease. It will get warmer in Ukraine. The company predicts a reduction in the risks of emergency outages and deficits in the power system. Russia wants to launch a major offensive from the occupied territories in the spring, according to the Defense Minister of Ukraine, Alexei Reznikov. The Minister of Defense stated this in an interview with the BBC. According to him, Russia will try to gather forces and weapons for an offensive from the occupied regions in Ukraine. Spring is the best period to renew the movement for all parties. We understand they will be ready to start, and of course, we have to be ready to start too. At the same time, the Minister of Defense does not think that Russians are preparing a second offensive from the territory of Belarus because it will take a long time and Russia does not have enough resources. Reznikov is convinced that Ukraine will receive tanks, combat aircraft, or jets, as well as long-range weapons to hit targets 300 kilometers away from Western partners. Oh, thank you so much, Karine. Thank you. Honestly, I agree with him, and I think that we are going to receive tanks and we are going to receive artillery, like long-range artillery. Thank you so much, Karine, and hi, Luen. And because, I've said this before. I've said this in a brief even, and I've said this kind of like on lives, but I don't know what kind of a miracle happened in 2023, but it feels like the second the year started, the Iron Curtain of weapons supplies just fell down and lifted. Because all of the countries that were kind of like, not on the edge, but were sort of like, I don't know. We don't want to escalate. We don't want to piss off Putin. Just, decided, what, screw that. We're not doing that. Ukraine needs weapons and Ukraine needs weapons now. And it's a very, very very, very great shift in attitudes, and it's going to change the situation dramatically. Ukraine will receive armored vehicles AMX-10 RC from France in the next 2 months. Speaking of that, that was Macron, which is so surprising because he's the last politician I expected this from, is the reason why Ukraine is getting all of these weapons now. He's the reason because he broke the taboo, and I talk about that in my previous brief, so not the latest one, but the one before that. Yeah, France, like he was the first one to decide to provide Ukraine with wheeled modern tanks, and that just broke the taboo of not sending Ukraine modern weapons. The Russian Ministry of Defense announced the capture of Solidar. The ministry claims that this will help the occupation forces to block Ukrainian troops in Bakhmut. The Ministry of Defense of Ukraine has not yet commented on this statement. In the morning, Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Malyar reported fierce fighting and attempts of the armed forces to hold the defense. There has been no confirmation of Russia capturing Solidar. They have been saying that they have captured Solidar for 3 days now. And armed forces of Ukraine every day show that that's not true, so let's see what happens. The occupiers changed the legal address of Zaporizhzhia NPP, fake resubordinating the station to Moscow. Thus, the Russians are once again trying to emphasize that the NPP belongs to Russia. And that Enerhoatom assured that such actions do not change the legal status of the plant. It remains Ukrainian. According to the Minister of Defense, Alexei Reznikov, 500 to 600 Russian soldiers die on the Ukrainian land every day, while the losses of the defenders are 10 times less. The German government does not confirm that Poland or other countries have applied for permission to transfer Leopard 2 battle tanks to Ukraine, said the spokeswoman of the federal government, Christian Hoffman. Hoffman also noted that other countries that want to transfer German tanks to Ukraine must obtain permission from Germany. The German government does not confirm that Poland or other countries have applied for such permission. Hoffman also noted that other countries that want to transfer German tanks to Ukraine must obtain a permission. That's interesting. I love that Poland already announced that they're giving the tanks and didn't even get the confirmation yet. But I honestly, with the shift in how weapons are being delivered and which weapons are getting approved, I don't think it's going to be a big problem, especially since Jens Stoltenberg came out and said that he sees no issue with transferring Leopards to Ukraine. I think it's going to be okay. Okay. The American edition of the New York Times believes that recent statements and actions of the United States and European countries regarding the supply of Patriots and tanks indicated the West has begun to prepare Ukraine for the upcoming counteroffensive in the spring. It's funny, that's quite what I just said. Okay. Meet Russian propagandists, cultural figures, comedians. They're Putin's tools that help him sow death. These people make money on lies and incitement of hatred on the Nazism of the 21st century, but they want to live in the West. They buy real estate among those they call to hate and kill. Yes, they say to kill not only Ukrainians, but we know everything about them. So let me show you this video. I'm very happy that such video exists because this is something that I've been trying to reiterate throughout the existence of this channel. But all of those Russians who hate the West, who tell Russia to hate the West is like of all evil, and and like LGBTQIA communities, which is like so bad for Russia, and all of that, they all buy real estate in the West, and they don't want to live in Russia because they fully understand that Russia is an underdeveloped, third world country, really. So, let me show you those people.
Поздравляем нас всех с праздником воссоединения Крыма и Севастополя с Россией!
За нашу родину, за победу!
Russian celebrities who supports Putin and war against Ukraine and poses a threat to the national security of Ukraine. They still have own assets and real estate in the Europe and the USA.
Я сегодня очень рад поприветствовать тех ребят, которые отстаивали в то время, пока мы пели, веселились. Они отстаивали нашу страну, нашу родину на боевых позициях.
Военнослужащим российской армии посвящается. На сцене народный артист России Олег Газманов.
Снова Родина нас позвала за справедливость, за Россию!
Россия вперед!
Мой лучший друг — это президент Путин.
Именно мы оставим им в наследство свободную, открытую Россию и, конечно, свое доброе имя.
Приезжает Байден на саммит НАТО в Европу, а там сидят Шольц и Макрон и в карты играют. На рубли.
Возвращайтесь домой, мальчики. Дома ждут и за вас все молятся. Просят помощи у всех ангелов.
They and their property must be non-great.
This is also just a very small chunk of the celebrities that own properties abroad, and most of their children live abroad. They don't live in Russia. Most of their relatives that they can, like, they don't even live in Russia. They quite literally live in those houses. They just come to Russia to say their propaganda talks, but they don't live in Russia. They don't want to live in Russia because conditions of life in Russia are awful, and they know that. And so, and this is just a very small chunk. It's like all these, we talk about Russian oligarchs who own property because obviously these people are rich, you know, they can afford it. Like, no, a lot of Russian celebrities and a lot of Russian well-off people do not live in Russia. They have businesses in Russia. They funnel money out of Russia, but they buy properties in other countries because, again, they don't want to live in Russia. Russians shelled the village of Dvorichna in Kharkiv region. Preliminarily, 2 women were killed and 1 more wounded. The enemy hit a residential area. And then these people come back and they say, we love our motherland. We have to fight for our motherland. Our motherland is the best. So why don't you live there? I thought Europe was the root of all evil. Why do you live in Europe then? Prigozhin began to publicly quarrel with the regular army of the Russian Federation over the appropriation of victories. The leader of the PMC Wagner, Yevgeny Prigozhin, said that his group is constantly trying to steal the victory, hinting at the messages of the Russian Defense Ministry about the alleged capture of Ukrainian Solidar. So it's really funny because, not only is the domino effect starting all around the world of Russia completely falling and losing its power, but it's also starting in Russia. And it's funny because they are quite literally imploding, and they're imploding themselves because, you can't win something when your forces are fighting with each other more than they're fighting with the opponent, right? And that's what's been happening. And that's what's been happening between like various different forces. I'm not sure if you know this, but you do if you watched my briefs, because I discuss these things there quite vehemently. But Prigozhin has PMC Wagner, and in order to compete with PMC Wagner, Russian Defense Minister Shoigu created his own PMC called Patriot or something like that, and they're quite literally competing with each other. UK government expected to formally announce decision to give Ukraine Challenger 2 battle tanks on Monday. There were 3 strong explosions in occupied Berdyansk, Zaporizhia region. Ukraine's 1,000-kilometer strike drone has already been tested in the sky, Ukrbоронпром spokeswoman Natalia Sad. Fighting for Solidar continues, General Staff of Ukraine announced in their evening address, basically breaking down the rumor that it has been captured. Also, Russians report that the car of the representative of the occupation authorities, Alexei Kigichin, was blown up in Berdyansk. Currently, there are 5 countries that are ready to send Leopards to Ukraine. Our goal is to assemble a tank brigade from them, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Kuleba. Yeah, so here's the thing. Even though Scholz might be opposed to it, Stoltenberg isn't, and Germany might be on the fence, the thing is that there are a lot of countries that are ready to send their Leopards, and they're going to pressure Germany. And Poland and France are already pressuring Germany. And that's why I think that Duda made a public announcement, because then Germany has to be the bad guy if they say no. And Germany doesn't want to be a bad guy. And I think that was pretty smart, actually. Okay, so this is a video from Solidar. Jaga jaga and bada boom. And Zelensky said the battle for Bakhmut and Solidar, for Crimea, for other cities and villages of the east of our country continues. The Prime Minister of Sweden, which has assumed the presidency of the Council of the EU, noted that an interim oral assessment of Ukraine's implementation of reforms to open accession negotiations will take place in the spring, but the official one in the fall. And then Duda said that Ukraine meets all of the criteria for EU accession. And again, in my brief, I talk about how the talks about Ukraine's EU accession have been rescheduled from fall to spring, which is honestly a really, really big deal. And it's a really good sign because they're happening earlier than expected. And that indicates that the idea of Ukraine being granted the EU membership is becoming more and more viable. So yeah, and that is all that I had for you for today. And you guys let me know if there is anything that you want to find out, if there is anything that you want to ask, any questions, suggestions, or anything like that, and I will be able to answer them. And also, I wish that Notabotter was on this live right now because he was the one who asked to have the weather report and who asked to have the weapons report. And so I was wondering if he liked it, and he wasn't there to tell me. And he didn't even see the brief yet. Sin, do you guys want to see Cinny? Who else is mentally exhausted from RC on the live yesterday? I did not go. I did not watch it. I genuinely, when I said that okay, there are 2 sides of TikTok now that I'm quite active on. One is political TikTok, and one is obviously Ukraine TikTok. And for those of you guys who don't really follow political TikTok, there is this child person who is very, very hurt and emotionally damaged. And his name is RC, or the Right Corner, and he is a misogynist and like the person who thinks that, you know, his wife should always shave and never not shave. And he also wants his like girlfriend, wife, whoever, to never have male friends and just be basically like a Barbie doll that never changes opinions or never evolves or anything like that. But anyway, so he also doesn't come to actually debate. He just comes to like throw temper tantrums and just like attention. Really, he just wants attention. And he was on Good Trouble's live yesterday. He came on when I was already there, and then he was dropped because he was just being ridiculous and just gross. And then he had his like own live, I guess, and he was just like going crazy. And you know what? I stopped watching it. Like, part of the reason why I stopped like watching or appearing in Harry's lives very often is because RC is there all the time. And it's like, someone can be like, oh my gosh, so you don't like him, so you're like scared of him or something like that. Like, no, I just honestly don't want to waste my time on him. He like angers the hell out of me. And I mean it in a way where like, he doesn't debate in good faith. He doesn't want to debate. he comes on to a debate of people who are clearly of opposing views and he knows it. And then you express an opposing view to him and he says, "Oh, I'm not going to be lectured by a liberal. I'm not going to be lectured by an atheist." It's like, but you knew I was liberal and you knew he was an atheist. So why did you come up to talk to us then? If you that's the whole point. He's infuriating, and I don't want to spend any of my time on like dealing with people that are infuriating. There are quite a few people that infuriate me on like the far right or right conservative side of TikTok, but they're like, at least, they're respectful and they're like there because they actually believe in what they're saying. This guy is just like a mini Andrew Tate, or rather he's like, Andrew Tate is a Wish version of a man, and RC is a Wish version of Andrew Tate, or he wants to be a Wish version of Andrew Tate. And so anytime I see him or him having a temper tantrum or anything, I'm just like, you know what? I have no bandwidth for this. And so yesterday, a lot of people were like, I said that that it was beneath me to talk to him, and all of his little stands were like, "Oh, so you consider yourself superior?" Like, intellectually, 100%. In general, no, I don't consider myself superior to anyone. But when I meant it's beneath me, I meant it's beneath wasting my time on. Like, I am in charge of how I spend my time, and I don't want to spend my time on someone who's not worth it, right? So I think that's perfectly reasonable, and it's not cocky. It's just like, I don't freaking want to talk to this person, and I have all the right not to. Anyways, let me go grab my dog because she's adorable, and this is going to be a very nice conclusion. Signorina, come here. Come here, gremlin. How are you doing, little gremlin? Oh, I love you, gremlin. Oh. Mwah. Gremlin. Ah! Gremlin. Yes. Wait. Cinny. Sin. I know you're uncomfortable. I'm gonna make you comfortable. Hi, little grumpkin. Aw. No. Grumpkin, you're so warm. You're so cute. I love you so much. So yes, this is Cinny, otherwise known as Sinona, otherwise known as Gremlin, otherwise known as Grumpkin, otherwise known as Gargoyle, otherwise known as Little Monster, otherwise known as Little Bat Rabbit, otherwise known as Little Bat Pig, otherwise known as Pog, Pig Dog. Pog. Not to be confused with Pug, because she's a Frenchie. Pog. Pig Dog. Otherwise known as all of my karma on Reddit, because I posted like 3 pictures of her on French Bulldog Reddits because she was cute, and oh my god, I got like 2,000 karma. Yes, you're a very karmic creature. Sinona. Boom, 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 boom. Sinister Minister, yes, otherwise known as Sinister, Sin, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Rubber Ducky Noises, yes. Oh. Grumpkin. She's like, help. Sin, you blink twice if you need help. Oh, did you just blink twice? Is that what happened? Did you just blink twice? Cindy, you want to be saved from me, but I love you. I give you so much love. How dare you? How dare you? What would you do without me? Who would be giving you all the foods? Who would be giving you all the yums? Who would be scratching your belly? Who would be letting you sleep on top of all of the pillows? Huh? Who would be letting you rule their life and be the queen that you are? Look at this this dog. She's, just living the life. God, I wish someone was like scratching my belly all day. Wait. Okay. Let me put you down. Oi. So, I was gonna say something about Cindy, and I forgot. Oh, so okay. Before I go, I'm gonna leave you with this story. Cindy, I have like a ton of pillows in my bed. It's like a pillow heaven, and there's this one really, really long pillow. And so yesterday, I'm looking for my dog around my apartment, and I can't find her. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, what is happening? I can't find my dog. And then I find her like an hour later, and she's passed out under that huge pillow, because that huge pillow takes up the whole bed, right? Like across. And then I have 3 pillows on each side. So 6 more pillows that are like, half a bed and half a bed. And so she's in between the 3 pillows on each side and covered her ass and like her body with the big pillow that goes across the bed. Very content, blissfully passed out. It was great. Alrighty, guys. I love you all. Thank you for being here. And I shall see you tomorrow at noon, hopefully. Well, noon, 30 past noon. But I shall see you tomorrow, hopefully at the right time. And yeah. Woo. Have a good rest of your day. Bye, guys. No, Patreon call is at 2, James. At 2. Доброго вечора. Доброго вечора. Sinona. Sinona. Hey. Grumpkin. Grumpkin. Don't do that. Anyways, bye, guys. See you tomorrow.